January kicks off a whirlwind of busyness for me, and that's going to last for a couple of months anyway. I'm heading back into mentoring the high school robotics team as a programming mentor, and that's going to take up 2 weeknights as well as a half a day on Saturday, pretty much for the entire January, February, March, and possibly into April. On top of that, I'm not planning on giving up my karate schedule, which is 2 nights a week. So that leaves me like 1 weeknight and half a day Saturday and Sunday in order to do everything else that I want to do in my life. That includes this channel and any other artwork that I want to do just for myself. In order to prevent myself from just going crazy with trying to do all of those things, I have decided that I want to scale back on my upload schedule and upload to the channel every other week instead of every week. That will allow me to have a little bit of time for my social life, my work life, my art life, and just some time to relax. I kicked off this channel with my trusty iPhone and iMovie. Together they worked really well and allowed me to create some decent videos, even if they are a bit cringeworthy when I look back at them. But then I took the plunge and upgraded my camera, and I needed something more powerful. And that's when I switched to Premiere Pro. If you've never used Premiere Pro before, it is a beast of software, and mastering it is going to take some time and energy. The learning curve in there is steep, and I'm just barely starting to climb that curve. I've been using it for a little while now, and I've managed to use it to edit my videos and put them out and do some minor transitions and some minor editing, but there's an awful lot more power in there that I would love to be able to take advantage of. And that's my first goal of this year, is to improve my video editing skills so that I can hopefully bring you more entertaining and more visually appealing videos. Switching to this new schedule will hopefully give me time to improve my video editing skills, but also will allow me some time to do some of my other 2024 art goals. The first of which is completing more sketchbooks. Last year, I managed to complete 1 sketchbook, and that was my ELO sketchbook. It's about 112 pages long, and it took me the entire year to complete. Now, I know that there was a trade-off that I made when I started this channel that meant that I wasn't going to have as much time to work in my sketchbook. I did complete additional work outside of my sketchbook and in another multimedia sketchbook where I was working in gouache. So I'm not saying that I didn't do any artwork last year, but I would love to be able to finish more sketchbooks in a year. In order to achieve the goal of completing more than 1 sketchbook, I have done a little bit of math and figured out that my ELO sketchbook is 112 pages long, and if I want to complete it more quickly and in a reasonable amount of time for myself, given how quickly I tend to work, 6 months seems a pretty achievable goal for me. It's pushing me a little bit faster than I would typically work, but I think it's pretty achievable. It means that I will be completing about 1.5 pages every other day in the sketchbook, which I think is pretty good, seeing as when I sit down to work on my sketchbook, I rarely complete an entire spread in one sitting, and often I only complete like a half or so of a page at a time. So it is pushing me a little bit harder, but it's not going at breakneck speed that's going to burn me out. In order to make the time in my sketchbook a little bit more enjoyable for myself, I'm going to be switching up the topics a little bit of the things that I draw in there. I've typically been working on a lot of nature, and I've been working on a lot of the human form, and I'm still going to be doing those things, but I'm going to add some more fantasy artwork into the mix. I love fantasy artwork, but I haven't really allowed myself to try doing it too much, because a few times that I have tried, I've not been terribly successful at it, and so I've told myself that I'm not good at it, so I shouldn't try it. I know that's silly. The first time that you try anything, you're not going to be good at it, and practice makes better. So I'm going to try and allow myself to practice my fantasy artwork more in my sketchbook, so you'll probably be seeing more fantasy artwork from me, which will hopefully make my time in my sketchbook more enjoyable and allow me to move my artwork in the direction that I want it to go. In addition to my sketchbook goals, I also have some painting goals. I have been dabbling in gouache for the last year or so, and I really enjoy painting that way, but I want to level up my skill in gouache. So, in order to help me do that, I have subscribed to Sarah Burns' subscription box. She's got a gouache subscription box that she had on sale, I think November and December of this year. So I signed up for it, and the boxes are going to come every month, and they include tubes of gouache, some of her paint brushes, paper, as well as a tutorial and I believe a print from her. With her as my guide, I'm hoping that I can just improve my skills that much more and be able to paint beautiful landscapes much more easily and freely than I can now, and hopefully capture some of the feelings and details that I am just not quite able to capture at the moment. Now, switching gears away from my artistic goals for the year, I do have some other personal goals that are art related that I wanted to share with you. The first of which is I would like to open my own online art store. I don't have a ton of things, but I do have a number of pieces that I think I could turn into either prints or stickers and start selling those online. However, there are a number of skills that I need to improve upon or learn in order to do that. First of all is digitizing my artwork. Obviously, I have a scanner. I know how to scan my artwork in, but I don't really have the skills needed in order to transform that scan into something that's going to turn out well if I get it printed. I know that sometimes when you scan things, the colors are a little bit off. Sometimes there's random artifacts, etc. I don't really have the skills needed in order to fix those things or do that well or even effectively. So that's one of my goals for this year, is to learn how to digitize my artwork so that I can make things like prints and stickers. Also, I want to improve my ability to mat any paintings that I have, any originals that I have, so that when I sell them, you can get not only the original, but a nice mat on top of it. If you've ever tried to mat things by taking it to someplace like Joann's or Michael's or a custom framing store, it is ridiculously expensive. They charge like $70 for, I think it was like an 8x12 mat. It shouldn't take too long, and I know that the mat material isn't that expensive, but that's how much they charge. So if I can do them myself, I can save myself a lot of money. And the standard size mats are not terribly priced, but they're still pretty expensive given the cost of the material and the amount of time that it actually takes for them to cut the mats. In addition, in order to have an online store, I thought it would be really good to have a logo. So I've been playing around with a couple of different logo designs, trying to find some symbology that kind of just reflects who I am and what my artwork is. And I've just been playing with that a bit, but I don't have any skills around how to build a logo. So that's another thing that I want to dive into, is just kind of learning how to make a good logo, what sorts of things that I should do, what sorts of things I shouldn't do, etc. So that's another one of my goals for the year, is to learn how to and make myself a logo. Now let's swing back to channel goals. I'm hoping to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I know that's not a crazy ambitious goal, and I know that I don't have complete control over whether you subscribe or not. But I do have some control in that if I am making more interesting videos to watch or more interesting videos to listen to, then you're more likely to subscribe and give me your time, your eyeballs, and your ears. So, like I said earlier, I'm working on improving my video editing skills, but I'm also working on my presentation skills. I know that I do have a tendency of having long pauses when I'm talking, and ums and uhs and all of those filler words. And so I've been working on creating scripts for myself to read out to you while I am presenting the artwork that I'm working on. I know that sometimes works well and sometimes it ends up feeling a little bit flat or maybe even a little bit artificial or unauthentic. And so I don't really want that. I want to be my authentic self to you. So to address the elephant in the room, yes, I am wearing a different shirt, which means it is a different day. I realized as I was editing the video that I had forgotten to mention when my every other week schedule is going to take effect. I do plan on publishing a video next week, which will be the first week of January, and then skip the following week and then publish again the week after that. So in January is when I'm going to start the new upload schedule. So do expect to see a video from me next week. It is likely going to be an art haul video of all of the things I got over the holidays. I got quite a few art supplies that I would love to share with you guys, and definitely some of those are going to become videos in the new year. I have set for myself a large number of goals for the year, and I have solid plans to help me achieve most of them. For those that I don't have any solid plans in place for, I do have some plans in place. They're just not quite as rock solid as some of the other ones. I know that for learning to edit with Premiere Pro, there are a lot of resources out there, and some of the other things like learning to make a logo and learning to digitize my artwork, those sorts of things, I know that there's a lot of resources out there, things like Skillshare and things like a lot of YouTube videos that I plan on making heavy use of. If you guys have any suggestions on other resources that I should be looking into for any of the art goals that I have this year, I would love to hear them. I would also love to hear if you guys have any art goals that you are setting for the year, because maybe I will borrow some of those. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed hearing about my art goals, and hopefully you will come back and watch how I progress through those goals, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!